5 things that happened to me after being kidnapped and gang raped in Dubai that were somehow even worse than what originally happened to me. Number 1, after immense pressure from the authorities to drop the case, I then had a fabricated alcohol charge against me and was actually jailed. Number 2, the families of the kidnappers harassed me repeatedly, threatened me, told me to drop the case, including one of their relatives who is a practicing doctor in Germany, and the police failed to protect me against them. Number 3, when I went on The Apprentice, I was forced to give up my worldwide anonymity. There's a whole story there. Number 4, the taxi driver, when he testified in court to confirm that the men had physically dragged me off the street in JBR when they kidnapped me, and that he'd received 150 dirhams to look the other way, came in and testified in his taxi uniform, so he hadn't even been fired for doing that to me. And number 5, the government hospital Al Rashid refused to treat me and left me lying on the floor, injured, battered, and broken for 9 hours, until eventually my friend started screaming and they sent someone to investigate what was going on.
Hi guys, my name is Natalie, aka DJ NB, aka Scatly 2.0, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So Dubai has sold you the dream: luxury apartments, the influencer lifestyles, the tax-free wealth, the boss babe paradise. But what if that dream isn't real? Welcome back to part 3 in this mini-series of Hating on Dubai. That's a joke. But I have entitled this video, Dubai Boss Babe Life is Fake. This isn't about scaremongering, this isn't about crashing out just because I'm a non-UAE resident, and it isn't about putting people off if they do want to go there. It's about context, because if you're going to be sold a lifestyle, you deserve to understand the entire picture, especially against a backdrop of Western women in particular navigating a completely different cultural and legal landscape.
Privilege is a huge factor as to why I got a conviction against kidnappers and men who SA'd me in Dubai. Let me explain. We know from the recent situation with Iran lengths that the UAE will go to protect and preserve their reputation from a public relations standpoint. So a case where a British woman is forcibly kidnapped from JBR while using an ATM, having stepped out of a government taxi, and the taxi driver is subsequently bribed to look the other way, and the kidnappers take this woman at home, film their horrendous attack. Yes, it makes sense for them to deal with that case, as they should, and convict the monsters that did this. If they didn't, it would have been a PR nightmare, because the headlines would have read, British women kidnapped from taxis in JBR. Now, I didn't realise this at the time. In my idealistic mindset, I thought this was indicative of a desire for deeper reform within the Emirates. But now, of course, I'm older, wiser, and a touch more cynical. I have concluded that, in fact, it was not necessarily entirely about me as a victim, though it may have been partially, let's say 5%, but generally it was just to preserve their own reputation. But these cases are happening to women of colour all the time in the Emirates. They're happening to domestic housemaids. They're happening to African women that have been trafficked. But where are the headlines? Because women of colour and sexual assault cases are treated very differently in the media. It's like white woman syndrome. When a white woman goes missing, there's media outcry and public searches. But when it happens to Indigenous women or women of colour in every other country, there is no public outcry. So I speak out about this because this isn't just me. This isn't just my case. It's about all women. It's about all cases of women who don't get justice. And that really pisses me off. So I will continue to speak out about it until violence and sexual violence against women and girls is addressed. And until countries everywhere in the world, not just the Emirates, stop sweeping it under the rug and start treating women fairly, equally, and with the support, the rights, the compassion, and the convictions that they deserve.
In part 1, we looked at the viral reactions, influencers crashing out because of the missile threats due to the Israeli, US, and Iranian war, and the reality of conflicts crossing over borders into what is supposed to be a safe haven.
Look at this. That is the Fairmont Hotel in Dubai. Oh my god. Oh my god.
In part 2, we broke down the data, how war, instability, and global tensions are already hitting the investments, the property market, and Dubai's growth story. And today I'm going to be spilling the tea. I'm going to be sharing the goss, because today I'm going to be talking about the lifestyles and the realities behind the luxury glossy branding and the skyline, because these stories didn't make it onto the glossy Instagram and TikTok reels, and if they did, it hasn't been for a good reason. I am going to be talking about tourists and expats facing serious jail time for minor incidences which would be considered negligible or common sense in Western territories. However, instead severe penalties are served.
Up to 70 Brits have been detained in the UAE for filming Iranian drone and missile attacks. Those accused are being held in overcrowded police cells and could face up to 10 years in prison for breaching laws on national security and stability, with some reportedly being denied sleep, food and medicine. The Gulf state prohibits publishing or sharing material that could disturb public security.
I'm surprised by the reaction of some of you. John in Wales, stop feeling sorry for these idiotic Brits in Dubai. When will Brits learn to respect the laws in other countries? Les in Buckinghamshire, if you go to these countries, you abide by their rules. When you're in the same room as a bear, you don't poke it with a stick. Jonathan in Deal, the UAE is a place where people might be maimed or even executed for crimes that would carry a prison sentence in the UK. Don't expect kind treatment for breaking their laws. Listen, if all these people have done, in some instances, is when their apartment block's been hit by a rocket, they've taken a photograph. Are you honestly telling me, and God forbid that was to happen in the UK, or let's just say for the purpose of debate, a lorry now ploughs into your front garden, whatever it might be. It's human nature. You're going to take a photograph. If these Brits, as some of you describe, these Brits who aren't respecting local laws, running international spy networks, I could understand it. And even, although I don't hold with it, but if they were suddenly to start, I don't know, influencer channels, say, the truth of Dubai, again, I wouldn't back it, but I could understand that all they've done is take a photograph for their own personal use. They've not sent it to friends or family back in the UK. They've not used it on an influencer site, and they've still been nicked. If you call that abiding or obeying local laws, no, that's censorship.
Lindsay, what has life been like in the prison since war broke out? Have you been treated any differently?
There are those that support the action, support the war, perhaps support the British, and there's those that don't, and it's bringing out the Iranian nationalism, so it's quite difficult. It's my perception that I think there is more animosity towards the British, and that being me, than there was before the war. So I made my peace with death within maybe 48 hours of the reality of the bombs hitting and the fact that we could be struck, and that I've led a good life. It's, since the war, it's the tensions within the salon here have, heightened, and I was snoozing earlier and got woken up by yet another fight, so the fights are becoming daily. With
rising anti-West sentiment in the prison, do you get the sense that that is growing and you could well be a target?
It could be. You never know. Like I say, you can't predict the war, and you can't predict what's going to happen within these wars.
Breaking news, a 20-year-old French citizen has just been detained in Dubai after being stopped by the police for taking a video of a building that had just been hit by a drone. The video was shared to his parents on WhatsApp privately and was not shared publicly. This comes after multiple people have been charged under UAE cybercrime law in relation to missile footage. Another person detained in Dubai over a video. Residents in Dubai survive a drone strike and an explosion in their apartment, now detained for sharing a photo to their family to let them know that they are okay. A Russian, Canadian and German resident survived a drone strike. In the immediate aftermath, a photo was sent to the family to show that they were alive and to show what just happened to them. But under UAE cybercrime laws, even taking a photo and sharing a photo privately can lead to criminal charges. So many people have already been charged in Dubai, and many more are being investigated for simply sharing footage of the strikes. Cases like this show how a split-second instinct, while fearing for your life, can spiral into a devastating legal nightmare.
Dubai's economy relies on its reputation as a dream destination, and mandatory licensing rules mean every advertiser or creator based there must hold a valid permit to post promotional content. While no legal action has been taken against anyone so far, the Dubai Media Office criticised misleading, outdated videos and images of past fire incidents that had been posted online. And Dubai police repeated that those posting rumours, misinformation, contradictions to official announcements, or anything causing public panic during times of crisis could face 2 years in prison and a minimum fine of £40,000. One influencer came out to refute accusations that she was paid for her viral video. She said that Dubai does pay her. It pays her in business, safety, connections, and weather. But while a lot of influencers tell a story of safety, the wealthy are doing whatever it takes to flee. Some travelers are heading out of Dubai to Oman or Riyadh, where companies are claiming the cost of private jet flights have spiraled into the hundreds of thousands. And one private jet company who posted on social media offering private flights when Dubai's airspace opens said they were inundated by hundreds of requests from people trying to leave the country.
Women whose unexpected and very short stint in Dubai due to their unaliving have raised uncomfortable questions.
You can end up dying.
And high-profile cases that reveal how strict and unforgiving the Dubai legal systems can be.
Selena Waterman-Smith in Happier Times.
It's just got a whole lot tougher.
In 2015, she starred in The Apprentice.
Welcome, Claude.
But now says she's been scammed by a former business partner in Dubai and could go to jail.
It's absolutely horrifying that a man who already has a history, I already have a police complaint against him, that he can go and enter a false testimony without any evidence and cause this level of damage. Like, it's terrifying. This entire case is preposterous and there's no evidence. And it just proves to me that when a man wants to abuse a woman, he can do it.
This story begins in Dubai 2018, when a working relationship broke down. Selena then became an extortion target by a man who'd promised to invest in her business. And when she was out of the country, he went to a United Arab Emirates court claiming she owed him £27,000. And in her absence, they sided with the man.
The UAE is supposed to be a safe space for female entrepreneurs, but what protections are there in place for women like me when men seem to abuse me and the system?
With her passport confiscated, Selena fears she could be sent to prison at any moment and says her life is now a living hell.
And whatever he wants to do, there are just no consequences for him. So of course I'm terrified because he's managed to get one case through the court with no evidence and cause this much damage to my life. How do we know what he's going to do next?
For the campaign group Detained in Dubai, Selena's situation is not new.
All this is an extremely common issue for expats in the UAE. The fact that she had a judgment against her in absentia is extremely common, and most people in that situation are actually arrested when they arrive back in the UAE, and then they won't have the opportunity to appeal. So it can leave people facing imprisonment without even having been able to present their evidence in court.
So what happens next?
I'm just in limbo. I'm in complete limbo. There is no help for you as a woman if something goes wrong in this part of the world.
From boardroom justice, Selena is now fighting for her own freedom.
Show me the evidence.
On her own. Rags Martel, ITV News.